Passionate Logic.
New ideas and efficient tools for a happier, more connected life.
If you have should, that is not a complete thought. I should do this, and there's a because of or an or else. And if you don't fill that in, then usually something negative from your subconscious, at least in my experience, if I actually examine it and write out that shouldn't have turned out that way, and then ask yourself, well, what's the because that's actually underneath that? Because life should be fair. Well, who says life should be fair? Or they shouldn't have said that because I'm too good a person. However you fill in that other part, if it is not direct, I will use the words, I have to do this if I want to. So if I want to get in shape, I have to work out, as far as I know. To the extent of my knowledge, if I want to get in shape, the way to do that is generally through working out. So that is a complete statement. But if you say, I have to work out, and don't fill in the rest, then your brain and whatever negative beliefs you have built in and stored up and that are tied down at the root of you, tangled like knots around whatever it is that you is, they'll be like, I have to work out because if I don't, I'm going to be alone, or no one will love me, or I'll just prove again that I'm a loser, I'm worthless. If you say never or always, for me, I have a really hard time listening to people trying to present an argument, and they say, those sort of people always. Well, if you use the words always or never, those are absolutes. If you find one exception, it's no longer true. And sometimes that can be helpful if someone's really aggressive in my face and said, you know what, you always, then that helps me take a step back and go, okay, they just said always. Is it true that I'm always that way? If I say no, then I can take a step back and their language bounces off of me a little bit, because I know that what they're saying is not rational at this point. It's usually emotional. And they're not saying what they're actually saying. They think they're saying that, but they're actually saying something else. And then I can go, okay, I want to listen more to what's going on for this person and not their words, because always or never, you never do this. Well, I did that one time, so that's actually not a valid statement. And so it can be used as a tool in that way too, in confrontation. But if you are making statements like that, especially if you're trying to persuade people, then you can very quickly disconnect the more reasonable members of your audience, because they'll just go, well, there's a case where that isn't true. It's not true that all policemen are, or all Mexicans are, or all people from Europe are, or all men, or all women, or all kids, or all old people, or all these judgments we put. If there's one exception, no longer valid.
It's not true. It's like theory. It only takes one exception to make it not a theory anymore.
Yeah.
Our mind believes those words make our statement stronger. But how does it work for you when people use those words in that language? Is it making their statement stronger, or do you discount them right away? The definition of stress that I like, that seems to be the most accurate, came from a medical doctor who said, stress is the real or perceived threat against your physical body or your ego. A million years ago, stress was staying alive. Your mind having to discern or judge if that berry is edible and will help me survive, or that berry is going to kill me, or that big furry animal is okay to go hang out with and can get milk from, and that other furry animal is going to eat me. So we had lots of threats against our physical body. Nowadays, not so much. So why is stress so high? Another fact about stress and perception against your physical body is that your chances of dying a violent death in America are the lowest it's ever been for any human on the planet since the Middle Ages. So why are we stressed? Well, it's that thing called ego. It has perceived threats all the time. Just the fact that we think 50,000 thoughts a day and most of them are not true, that could be 50,000 attacks on your ego in one day.
Even when we are involved in physical violence, oftentimes if two people get in a fight, a physical fight, then when the police come up, they're both going to claim self-defense, and they're not just saying it to try to get the other person in trouble, get out of it, though that's probably part of it. What they're saying is they actually believe it, because one of the posturing things that often happens before a fight is the two people yell at each other and push, and part of what they're doing is they're inflating their ego boundary to expand so they can justify violence to themselves, so that it actually, in their minds, if I equate myself and my physical safety with my girlfriend or my sports team or this chunk of the bar, and then you are in that space, I can mentally, especially when there's alcohol or drugs involved, I can very quickly equate you being in this space that I have now made part of me as an attack on me, justifying a physical response. Even in that way, the perceived threat against your ego can result in physical violence because you've made this false equivalency. They said something threatening, and because I am equating my well-being with my ego, then therefore we can fight.
Thank you for watching our video.
If you like the video, please subscribe.
Please like.
Please leave a comment below. Thank you so much.